Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of MvX. Like every Tuesday and Friday in French and Wednesday in English, we are live to comment on Web3 news and interview key figures of the ecosystem. You can then find the replay on podcast platform or YouTube channels and on Web3 cyber platform. Today, we are followed with Joachim, founder of Gopal Labs. How are you, Joachim, today?
Good morning, Philip. I'm very well, thank you. A bit on the move, but I'm happy to be here by your side for yet another exciting episode of MvX.
Thank you, Joachim. Arno should join us soon. We give him the power when we arrive. He's coming currently with some technical problems. So let's move on the program for today. We have quite a nice discussion and a guest to talk with today. So today we'll receive Eran, founder of Bullperks. He will talk us about this project and his parkour in the blockchain ecosystem. You have been part of many different projects. He supports different initiatives, and he have a platform launchpad for mostly gamings. But like he will talk with us later, it's not the only one. And we will see also after that discussion about governance and the vote that is currently ongoing on the MultiversX ecosystem, and how we can make it more democratic, if I can say, or how we can involve the most people of the community to take part of this vote and feel concerned about the decision made on chain. So thanks everyone to be there today. Maybe we will give a few more minutes for more people to join. Do not hesitate to discuss, to take also the parole and ask questions about our different subjects. It's always welcome. And Arno is just arriving. So Arno, for those who don't know him, I guess it's nobody there, but he's an ambassador for Atom Protocol, an entrepreneur in the Web3, Web4, like we'll say Jerome since a long time. So how are you, Arno, today?
You know how I am today, Philippe.
Yeah,
I'm like a PSG fan who struck down Barcelona, so I'm over the moon.
Yeah. I saw that. That's nice for the PSG. To be honest, I'm more Marseille guys, but it's a good thing. France is there and represent France. It was a really great match yesterday.
Thank you, Philippe. I love the sweet and sour in your voice as a Marseille fan. But no, I'm happy. I'm happy to be there this morning. I'm looking forward to the conversation and the interview of the Bullperks founder. Very interested to discover what he has to say and what's his background. And how about you? Because this is, if I'm not mistaken, this is your first space as a host, correct?
Yes. It's a lot of stress. The level is really high with MvX, so I have to align with the expectation of everyone. But after I'm surrounded by good people, between you and Joachim, I think we would be capable to manage that properly. After it's Wednesday, everyone is on a good mood. It's middle of the week. It's not the beginning, neither the end. So usually it's a good moment to start. The subjects today will be quite fast. We'll have 1 hour with the interview, and after that it will be an open discussion, and I invite everyone to participate. I hope some other influencer will join us for the second part, and let's see how this thing going. But yeah, this is a little bug, and all the little features of Twitter. Get kicked as a host directly when I connect also was kind of stressful a minute before. But I invite everyone to one day take the lead and try to host something. It's if you don't try, you never know how it is. Joachim did it yesterday.
I had the exact same issue. I accepted someone as speaker, and I kicked myself off out of the space, and I was like, "Oh, this is not going as planned." So I think there's improvements to be made on the space side, but we made it yesterday, and I'm sure we'll make it today. So I'm not worried.
Yeah, and I got also because yesterday a lot of people were experiencing problems with the phone, so I was wondering if I should try to do it on the computer, but being the first one doing it, I think would have been a little bold on my side. But next time, maybe we can try to do it through the computer and wait for public announcement from Twitter, for X, sorry. And yeah, I mean, it's a quite interesting tool. I think it's a future of communication and discussion and debate. And I really like the format. I mean, since I started to follow MvX and participate on some space, that bring really a lot of value on discussion. It's and the fact that everyone can participate, it's definitely what our generation, I would say, or everyone in the Web3 ecosystem are aiming for. So yeah, I mean, it's first one for my end. I hope you will be not torturing me too much after that if I make some mistakes, but let's go on that together. So also on top, maybe before, because we have our guest arriving at 10:30, so let's see when he will join. Maybe we can discuss about like what's happening currently in Dubai with the token edition. I mean, we saw some nice posts yesterday from Sasu and from the rest of the Multiverse team. I mean, nobody here have been to Dubai or is currently in Dubai and wake up in the middle of the night, I guess, for listening to the podcast. I would be really surprised. What's your thought about that? I mean, like...
it's middle of the day in Dubai. It's not middle of the night.
It's middle of the day.
Yeah,
so I don't have...
They could be here.
They could be there. I mean, that could be, maybe they're stuck in their car underwater, but I think the weather is better today. And if I'm not wrong, things are getting better and the events continue properly. I mean, let's hope that they can drop.
Did you see all the pictures that Robert posted about their trip with Danny when they went to an event?
Oh man, we should make. I mean, I was expecting more memes about that.
I'm going to post them in the space so everybody can look.
I mean, because for those who don't know, not following what's happening, there's currently, I mean, today is better for understood, but it's currently an emergency breakdown in Dubai. There's more water that fall in 24 hours than 2 years, something, and everything is underwater. The pavement is falling down. I mean, like it's currently, the airport is closed. So it was really complex, I guess, for everyone going there, without even having the current geopolitical situation in Middle East. That's not helping neither. I mean, I think they will remember this event for quite a long time. I mean, it's even for me, I saw the picture, I thought it was kind of a meme or a munching. I mean, with bobber stuff going everywhere. Do I need to do something to pause the stuff? No, you just do it yourself, I guess. Okay, and after that, like I said, we discussed about governance and the discussion that MultiversX started, the space that MultiversX hosted on Monday for discuss this point and the call of everyone in the ecosystem to vote. So yeah, I mean, interesting program. Thanks for everyone to be there. I mean, I don't have the impact of the MvX at the moment. Thanks Arnaud for the post. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that you go to Dubai and expect biking under that kind of rain. I mean, it's I don't know what you think Arnaud about that, but I mean, when you go there, you expect Uber, like Ferrari, like a lot of nice sport car, and at the end you finish there. But everyone saw the T-shirt, for what I understood. I mean, everyone recording. I saw also people with the MultiversX T-shirt on some unrelated footage from the news. So that was kind of fun to see. I mean, really showing motivation to go to the event and spread the good vibe about the ecosystem.
Maybe that's what we need for mass adoption, to have MultiversX T-shirts each time something is on the news. But yeah, I feel like you go to Dubai to get a 12-meter pool, not the whole city being a massive pond. But shall we discuss a little bit of what has been teased and announced before all hell broke loose while we wait for a guest?
Yes, definitely a good idea. I mean, let's do that right now. We can come back on later. But yeah, for those who just joined us and that haven't followed what has been announced at Dubai, MultiversX is pushing forward for the sovereign chain. We'll have a live demo, so that's not even like a recorded one or something. It will be a live demo. It's the 25th of May. So I don't have so much information about the context and about what will be showcased, to be honest, on this demo, but I hope that something big will come. with maybe an announcement of a big partners. What do you think would be, Joachim, on that aspect? Would be like gaming, DeFi with Atom? Would be something more related to decentralization or governance? Do you have your bet to put right now?
So I think it can be either one of two things. Because they say a demo and not like a proof of concept or showcasing something. So I have a feeling that like it's going to be showing how you can deploy quite easily a sovereign shard, how it works, how you can connect with Exportal, etc. Because you have to remember this is I think it's called Alpha Plus or something like that. Like this is the very first iteration of the sovereign shard, and we're going to go see improvements, obviously, and upgrades as we get closer to mainnet launch. But I don't think, I would like to, but I don't think it's going to be something that we're going to be able to interact with. Rather, as I say, a demonstration. Because as some speculated, it would have been very fun to have a sovereign shard for Exportal, like, you know, the gamification, etc. But I have a feeling we're not yet there.
I mean, for me, I saw people talking about XWorld and all these things. I think it will not go in that direction yet. I agree on that. My point, I mean, my interrogation regarding this demo would be, what would be the point? Would be the point to show a simple interface, like I'm thinking of, I would say X-Fabric, but could be something totally different. But would it be like for a simple interface, click, 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 creating the sovereign shard, selecting the validator, and think go like as it's like let's deploy a layer 2, let's say, because that's what they are aiming at the end, to allow layer 2, in fact, or even every layer 1 to have their own sovereign shard to be fully interoperable with the rest of the MultiversX ecosystem. And yeah, I'm really wondering if it would be a really technical demo with a commands line and things starting, looking at numbers and just saying it's working, you know, or it will be something more visual with an interface to deploy it, maybe with no code, I mean, or almost no code. That's something that will be really make the wow feeling in everyone around. Arnaud, something to say about that?
Yeah, I think we should be very cautious with what we expect, because we're very good at imagining stuff and then hyping everybody, and then everybody's disappointed. So I would say let's not expect too much, and let's see what MultiversX wants to show us about the sovereign chains. I think that one thing interesting that you said, they're talking about this infrastructure as sovereign chains, but you said sovereign shards, and shards is what they are. And maybe, the biggest accomplishment that those sovereign chains could show is that they're actually composable shards. So I would say that showing how, they're able to boot up a sovereign shard, have validators, and then a transaction going from the shard to the chain in a composable way, that would be something massive, because then you actually show the power of this new infrastructure.
So, if you allow me to answer, Philip, I think that talking about high expectations, I actually think this is even higher expectations than having, let's say, a working exportal sovereign shard, etc. Because the composability, as documented by Robert Sassu on the Agora, will probably come later, quite a while later. And in the first steps, I don't want to use the word bridge because it has a negative connotation, but there's going to have to be one interaction to let's say move funds from one shard to a sovereign shard, and then back. So I think we could easily see some like easy gamification or some simple features on a server on a shard that's running by its own that started easily, etc. But the factor of the composability with the main chain, I think we'll have to wait a few more months.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go Arno, if you want to say something.
No, I was acknowledging what Joachim said. And you see, I didn't know about that. So again, I think we shouldn't expect too much. And MultiversX is building its narrative around this piece of infrastructure. And so let's see how they structure that. Let's see what they want to show us. And let's not, expect a big partner doing a demo or whatever, Let's just keep our hopes, at a reasonable place.
Yeah, it's like when you support PSG, don't expect too much, but be happy when it happens. I agree. I agree. I agree entirely. Now it will be probably. I think it's on that point you're both right. I think it will be something technical for bring more builders to show the incentive and how easy is it to leverage the MultiversX technology and to integrate it. I mean, if you can show that in few steps, or at least a simple way of doing it, you can integrate other blockchain and interact with them and reuse, the word bridges, because at the end, if you want to be fully interoperable with other layer one, we'll have to accept that bridges will exist somewhere. But if you can show that you can export or reuse existing bridges with technology to relink shard with specific layer one, that would be really a way to solve the problematic that we have in the ecosystem and to reduce the friction and how users interact with the blockchain. I think it's what we are aiming since a long time. That's what Robert Sarsou is advocating on Twitter since years now. Since the call of X word, I think all the people and all the builders start to turn their head around and understand, try to imagine what will be the space and how it would look in the future. I think we are getting there. There will be a lot of discussion, so we know where to go. The question now is like how we go there and which step we take first. Joachim, something?
Yeah, it was to talk about the screenshot, the pictures of the presentation of Benny 2 days ago, I think, or 3, where we could see sovereign shards / chains for apps, and we had the logos of like Twitter, Revolut, etc. Like I'm not going to make any assumption on that. I just think they were there to tease the interest and see the possibilities, nothing more. But also as a layer 2, and I think that is, if we look at how Exportal is evolving with Solana integration, EVM integrations, Polygon recently, we can see that Exportal doesn't want to be just a wallet of MultiversX, but one wallet. And I struggled to see why you would benefit MultiversX, but with sovereign chains as layers 2, meaning that we could, from a sovereign shard, interact with copies of smart contracts deployed on the layer 2 or store information on those other layers, all from Exportal. It gives, as we were talking about, a very strong interoperability between MultiversX and other chains, because one of the main challenges we've had is that there aren't that many bridges to MultiversX. MultiversX is coded in Rust. There's only Solana, and a few others that are coded in Rust. Most of them are in EVM in Solidity. So we've kind of been like in our own little corner because of the language barrier, which I feel is about to change if we manage to have sufficient sovereign chains that interact with EVMs and other chains.
Yeah, I saw this discussion also. Thanks for pointing it. I saw that kind of comments on X. That's true that there is a question about the different available SDK and the tools to integrate more and more protocol and technology. I think MultiversX is doing a good job there, taking consideration the budget and the size of the company. To remind everyone that I think it's MultiversX is currently the 4th in the ecosystem in number of developers. For real developers, that doesn't mean a lot, I guess, because you never know what they are doing, if they're full-time, you don't know if they are really building. But you can also, I mean, if people are really digging to the GitHub and all these things, and a few months ago, they also have been studies about that regarding the amount of commits and the amount of code that is done. And I think MultiversX was also on the top 3, if I remember correctly, regarding the modification and the participation on the open source code. I mean, I mean, if I can add my bet also on the demo, I mean, something that could be interesting to jump back on what you say regarding the application, PayPal, Revolut, and even any application maybe on the Play Store, on the App Store, would be maybe to provide kind of a social layer to bring, in fact, customers directly to the app. I mean, today you see that there is all the app, all the projects, they need to attract customers, they need to identify those customers, to categorize them and to target them. That is for commercial or directly for commercial on the website or with mailing lists to be sure that to track their attention. Maybe they will provide kind of a social layer and deliver directly a bunch of users to this application and quick access. I mean, that could be a really interesting use case. I mean, Ethereum was going in that direction. I mean, it's we haven't heard since quite a long time on their side, and I know they are still building. So maybe they are going in the direction to create a social layer for people to an application to access information that you decide to make public. I mean, that could go with the Soulbound token on the that they want to deliver on the for the vote on the Agora on the governance vote on MultiversX to create, in fact, identity card and directly go and marketing to the app. If you want, we can directly integrate our customers. We have this amount of users with this amount of liquidity, and all this information properly stored and secured, that there is no leak of personal data. Yes, Joachim?
I just realized there is another flashing news, another news that came out yesterday afternoon. I don't know if you want to talk about it briefly. Inspect XYZ, the kind of like NFT tracker layer 2 on Twitter. Because you talked about that social layer, and that's why I was like, oh, it's true. Inspect XYZ came out.
Exactly. I mean, and you go also in direction with X-Fabric and everything. I mean, there is all these pieces going together, and I mean, it takes times. Like say, Arnaud, we should maybe put our expectation that high. I mean, but it's always hard to not put the expectation higher. I think that's how we go forward as project and as person. We need also to expect more what we had before. But yeah, I mean, this social layer would definitely make a difference. I mean, so we will discuss maybe more in detail about the governance vote and how we can improve it. But definitely there is a way to incentive people participating more, giving some information, knowing that this information will be safe, to increase the value of the blockchain. I mean, today, that we like it or not, user information are keys in the marketing. I mean, if you want to target with commercial, if you want to target with promotion, and even for events and where to invest money, that's something that have a lot of values. And adding that, maybe half on chain, providing directly integrated with the way to support, to whitelist wallet depending on condition. I think it's something that needs to be there in the ecosystem. And if you can extrapolate even and bring more and more blockchain, more and more layers, and create this synergy and this simplicity, all the developers will start to turn in this technology and maybe embrace it. MultiversX using different technology for coding, but pro and cons. Some people, that's another debate. But I think we need also to show the advantages and level up. I'm looking if no, our guest is not there yet. Oh, we have Pepe Amin that just joined us. Chikapo. Thanks, guys, for coming. Pousset also. And yeah. Otherwise, I mean, people from you know already the guest that is coming?
No, I mean, I was with GRM when he had a video call with him to discuss his venue on GM MvX. But otherwise, no. I didn't know Bulbergs, to be honest. So I'm very interested to discover the background of the company and also, what's the story of the founder.
I mean, it's a really interesting project. I mean, it's something that we need in the ecosystem with a really nice approach. I mean, I would try to dig also a little on the personal information and the creation of a community, because he did really a good job onto that. And Joachim, you want to say something?
No, I won't say I don't know the CEO personally. Well, I've never talked to him, but I've used Bullpuck in the past. And as we were saying, Sense for Fit on MultiversX had a launch with them, so their name has popped up a few times in the past. I'm even wondering if I have their token somewhere, maybe.
Yeah, it's, I discovered it recently. I discovered it for learning about this space, but I knew also that he's interested into MultiversX since quite a long time. If you look at his profile, so I mean, I'm really curious about his point of view about that. I don't want to start another subject, to be honest, because I know his time is quite tight. He should come soon, I guess. Give me a second.
Are you in touch with him on the side?
I try. It was Gerard that was managing that. No. But yeah, I mean, it's. I will not present this project yet, and it doesn't make sense. I will give him 5 minutes, and we can talk about that. In the meantime, I mean, I wanted to maybe discuss quickly. Just I will make my little point about that, because that's something really important. Another picture that appears in the MultiversX presentation on Monday was an interplanetary system for finance. I mean, it's a subject that we can come back in a future space for sure, because there's a lot of things to say about that. But like I discussed with Joachim and Arno for me, MultiversX is the only technology currently that could allow an interplanetary financial system that is decentralized, if I can say. Eran just joined us, so we'll discuss this one later. Eran, if you can ask for we invite you.
You kind of hyped me now. I want to understand, why do you think MultiversX is the technology that could support an interplanetary financial system?
He did it on purpose. He's teasing the next GM MvX. We just don't know it yet.
I do my best here to create some struggle on people. I mean, if you create question and people coming, I think it's a really important subject. I mean, just because.
Hello, guys.
Hello, Eran. Do you hear me properly?
I do.
Oh, nice to have you there today. Thanks for coming. And how are you doing?
Thanks for having me. I'm good. I'm actually in Dubai. I'm sure all of you saw the pictures and heard the stories. There's a lot of flooding and stuff like that, so a lot of events have been getting canceled or postponed. But sun is out, so hopefully everything will dry up and TOKEN2049 and all the side events will go back on track.
Yeah, that's great to hear. I mean, we saw the news and we are talking about that at the beginning of the space. I mean, the situation is really chaotic. I mean, if I can say the less. A lot of emergency. I think some people been injured, even die, if I'm not correct. So I hope you take care of you, Eran, and that everything is fine. I saw that today the weather is getting better, so the water is getting away. They are really good in resolving the problematics there. So I hope that this afternoon you can go to the event. Is it your plan to go to the token event?
I don't really go to events, to the main events, unless I'm a speaker. I have a few of those other events that I'm going to and I'm speaking in, but not to the main one. So yeah, I rather go to side events and meet specific people that are relevant to our business. Whether it's funds, whether it's other launch pads, whether it's ecosystems, and so on. KOLs, so on.
Selective. That makes total sense. So if it's okay, let's start with the interview right away. I mean, we have a lot of things to discuss. I mean, I think also my co-host will have question after that. So if we can start quickly, I mean, can you introduce yourself, your careers, what bring you where you are today, and with MultiversX, and why this approach for the investment and the ecosystem?
Well, I believe. Sorry. By the way, I apologize if there's some noises in the background. I do have a dog that sometimes like to bark, so I apologize about that. So I believe I'm here in the podcast or Twitter Spaces because of our partnership with MultiversX that used to be called Elron. We are their go-to launchpad. So they basically will be sending us some of their top projects that they'll be interested in launching through our launchpad.
Yeah, so I saw also, so recently I saw that you will integrate MultiversX. That's, I mean, I'm really happy about that. I'm a big fan of this technology since the very beginning. I saw also that you follow this project since quite a while now. I mean, if I'm not wrong, on your thread on X, you are talking about MultiversX, like Elron since a long time. I mean, on my side, I mean, I took a look on MultiversX. I mean, I'm really impressed by the work that have been done. I mean, if I'm not wrong, it's something that have been created a few years ago, and you build during the bear market. So that's something that I respect. It's not easy, but it's probably the best way to build and bring project alive. Why this approach, if I can say, in the investment? Because it's what you want to bring. In fact, it's a VC investment and access to early investment for projects to everyone. In fact, can you tell us more about that? Maybe about the different kind of investments and the different kind of user that expect to be using your platform and their role on it.
Sure, but before I get to that, it's actually an interesting story. My experience with Elrond, and one of the reasons that I created MultiversX. So I actually invested in Elrond during their ICO days. I don't remember if it was 2016, 17, or whatever exactly. But at that time, there were only pools. Most of them were anonymous pools, and you invested together, and you just prayed that you're not going to get rugged. On Elrond specifically, I actually invested quite a bit, and I did get rugged. That's one of the reasons I decided that I'm not doing this anymore, and from now on I'm investing only directly in projects with SAFTs. And I started investing myself as an angel investor. Then I created my own boutique fund and invested through that fund. I invested in over 100 projects probably on my own and with my fund. But I noticed that a lot of projects were starting to be more selective or problematic, call it as you want, and not allowing the retail investor to go in, only VCs. And the alternatives in the market at that time, when I was thinking about this end of 2020, beginning of 2021, there were only like very few launch pads. Most of them not operating very professionally, some anonymous, some no KYCs. And, we decided that we wanted to create a platform where retail can invest in similar terms to VCs through a platform that is fully transparent, that the team is doxed, people with actual investment backgrounds, which is what I have from my 18 years of real estate investments and traditional VC before crypto, and crypto since 2013. So that was the goal, as well as to help project founders. A lot of them came from, other sectors, not crypto, or didn't have the experience in management because they were developers before, or just didn't have the connections to, ecosystems, influencers, exchanges and so on, and needed help and guidance. So it was kind of a win-win for both sides, and this is why we created MultiversX and launched it. Officially, we did it in June 2021, and we immediately launched our first project then. Since then, we launched over 70 projects, 70, raised over 17 million. We have hundreds of thousands of community members. We have over 30,000 KYC members. In order to participate in our deals, you have to be KYC'd and to have a tier. Although we sometimes also give whitelist competitions, so people can get in even without tiers. And yeah, we're sector agnostic and chain agnostic. We're supporting over 20 chains. But recently, we also started doing partnerships with specific ecosystems to become their go-to launchpad. Because, it makes sense that if the ecosystem will actually support and push those projects financially and with their own marketing and everything, we can enhance it and make it even more successful. So it made sense for us to do these partnerships. And MultiversX is one of those ecosystems which made sense, and I've been in touch with them for a long time.
Thanks, Eran. Yeah, because we see in Web3, it's really a complex ecosystem. Like for investment, there's a lot of rug pull, and as you say, even with a lot of experience, a quick mistake can happen, and a lot can be lost in a short time. So it's one of the reasons that there's a difficulty to attract Web2 investors in Web3, I think. And if I can resume, and you tell me if I'm wrong, but the idea of MultiversX, in fact, is to create a platform that kind of veto different projects, verifies the structure and the foundation and the idea, business plan, tokenomics, and in fact to vest it for the customer, for the users, to simplify the process and to reassure, in fact, is engagement and investment. If I'm not wrong, that's what you create. It's a platform. Just talking about MultiversX, because with your experience, you have a lot of experience in RWA. You have a lot of experience also with finance investments in a normal financial institution, and I guess you are leveraging all this knowledge to support the different projects coming on your platform and giving them all the chance to succeed. That would maybe go on my next question, in fact, but what is the investment strategy of MultiversX for selecting projects? What are the different conditions and what are the red flags, in fact, that you are using, and maybe also to teach the people listening to us what would be, in fact, the different red flags that they need to have before to invest in a project today?
Sure. So obviously there's no guarantees, and there'll always be, mistakes. So we had some losses, but the goal is to minimize the risk and the losses. So our process, when we look at projects, we look at the team. We prefer people with more experience that have done things before, that it's not their first rodeo. That being said, it's not a deal breaker if we believe that, it's an innovative idea and they can actually succeed to execute. This is another thing we look at. Can the team execute? So first of all, their experience. Second, can they execute? So we look at the members and their abilities. Obviously, we look at the projects. We're not taking ideas. We're looking for projects that actually have some sort of a product, whether it's an MVP or a gameplay or a demo, and we also look at their traction, whether it's downloads, waiting list for the product, or whether it's daily average users or monthly average users, online transactions. So we try to analyze also these metrics. Tokenomics, super important. A lot of times we see problems with it, whether we see tokenomics that are meant to have the team cash out very fast, and that's a big red flag for us, or whether it's a very unbalanced tokenomics. We see situation, I've seen recently, for example, a situation where the multiples between the seed investors, the early investors, and the public was a 20x. I mean, this is something we can't afford and can't allow. The retail is not gonna be the dumping, of the seed investors, of the VCs. So we look at a lot of metrics in the tokenomics. We also try to fix them if we can fix them. We also look at the team in that sense that are they coachable, or will they listen to advice, or are they some cocky guys that think that they know everything and been in the space for 2 days and already think they know everything? Because I've been in the space for more than 10 years and I don't know everything. I'm still learning every day, and I still come up with mistakes, and I still learn from every project that we launch. So we try to be as critical. We also obviously check which exchanges, we check their socials, we check which KOLs they have. But even with all this, some small technical mistake at launch can destroy everything. So we also check the market maker and who's going to create the liquidity pools. We try to teach them, but there's still mistakes every now and then, which are very unfortunate.
Yeah.
So hopefully that gave you a little bit idea of our process.
Yeah, thanks for all the details, because there's a lot of aspects in projects. And even with the best idea and the best team, the market can kill you. Same with the community or some fund that could arrive. That can go really fast, and there's a lot of aspects to take in consideration for that. Even more because today, you can see project with 20, 25 years old people raising 7 figures money that arrive directly on their account, and that can be really overwhelming. So in fact, you take also the role as advisor, if I'm not wrong, for some projects. Could you tell us about this role? Because I participate also in, I will not say many compared to you. I think it's not comparable, but I participate in projects that fail and that being successful. And the role of advisors can be really different from just being there on the website, showing my head and getting some part of the token or equities, to really someone involved and taking part of the decision chain. Could you say some word about that regarding advisoring and how you, maybe personally, you advise project and what should be done and not done regarding advisor?
Yes. So to be honest, at the beginning, when we launched, I took more advisories. People offer you tokens for free just to put you on a website or their deck or something like that, and you're like, okay, why not? But then those projects don't do well, and people do come to you and ask you what happened and what's going on, and you're like, I'm just on the deck. I'm not really involved. So I stopped taking advisory unless I'm fully involved in them. So I'm taking very, very few advisories, and only in projects that I believe could be top 100 projects. If a project won't listen, like I just had a situation that I was offered an advisory on a project. I agreed because I believe that the project has a lot of potential. But then they started doing things which I didn't agree with. And I told them that as far as I'm concerned, either they fix it or I'm out. They didn't fix it, so I just left. I left a lot of money on the table for that. But to be honest, at this point, my reputation and my credentials are more important to me than any money that any project can offer. I just had a funny situation, that one of the projects I met with them, my background, as I said, have background in computer science and math. I was programmer. Afterwards, I moved into the business world, and I did 18 years real estate investments and traditional VC. And I've been in crypto for a long time. So I looked at this project, an RWA project, which is the hot trend right now. I met with the founders, and to be honest, they were clueless. Like, don't know crypto, blockchain, don't know anything about RWA or tokenization. And in 1 hour, I taught them a lot, and I told them, like, guys, you're not ready. You need to go learn the space, bring the right people. It's not a fit. They offered me a big chunk of advisory, tokens and money and everything to be a part of it. I refused. I recently saw that it's going on one of the top launch pads in the space now. Changed a little bit their branding, added some more keywords and buzzwords and stuff like that, to make it sound very impressive. And they'll probably do well eventually. But that's not how I work. If I'm going to go on a project, I'm going to go on something that I believe is a long term and the right people. So yeah, that's about my advisory.
Yeah, thanks a lot. That's true. That's, I mean, as advisor for some projects also, sometimes they don't understand that being an advisor is just being an influencer and just retweeting stuff, but also being involved in a decision, even if the decision is made differently, because, I mean, the management team of a project is still the management team, but advisoring, I mean, if you ask someone to be your advisor, I mean, you should at least listen to it. To him, sorry, or to her, you should take in consideration, and you should always challenge, I think, the idea. If people are advisor like you with a lot of experience, I mean, it's always, I guess, and from my point of view, something really valuable to listen to. I mean, we are on a fast market with a lot of parameters, a lot of risk coming from the technology, but also from the human side. And it's not as easy as people can think, just being an advisor. So thanks to put some light on that. And if I can jump also on that, because it brings me a question also regarding regulatory compliance and legal, because you're based in Dubai, I think your company is also. And my next question would be maybe about how do you manage the legal aspect? Because private sale, VC, DEX listing, all these different elements and are really heavily regulated. With a different regulation on different countries. Your platform is requiring a KYC, so that's totally normal for me. It's something for investors at this level that is totally legit. But from your point of view, regarding regulation and what's happening the last months, is it something that's positive, like the direction that are taking the institution? Is it something negative? Like, do you have a point of view also regarding MiCA and the way that European investors can be impacted by this regulation? I think it's a subject that is really complex, and you are one of the rare that could shed some light on it, if I can say.
So, no one likes the police until they need them. Same thing with the regulation. No one likes it. But when you get rugged or when some illegal things happen, then where were they? I do think we need regulation. Obviously, there needs to be some sort of a balance, but we do need it. I see a lot of scams, a lot of illegal activity, a lot of shady characters in the space, unfortunately. We try to avoid it. We're not in Dubai, incorporated in Dubai. We're actually offshore, but we are compliant. We care about the regulations. We do KYC. We don't allow participation from specific countries. I mean, it would be much easier for us to just open the door to anyone, like some of these other launch pads, and just let anyone participate. It will be easier to raise money, make fees, and everything. But I do believe it will come to haunt some of these projects in the future. I mean, we're seeing right now the SEC is looking at Uniswap. I mean, everyone was talking about DEX listing is fine and whatever, you don't need KYC. And now it might come back to haunt those founders of these DEXs, to be honest. We'll see how this goes, but this could be a game changer. Because if Uniswap founders will be found guilty, for example, all decentralized finance will be impacted. So, we need to be compliant and we need to keep an eye on these things constantly. So, yeah. We also, when we look at companies, as I mentioned, we do due diligence, but we also we do KYC to founders, and we do KYB, which is know your business. And KYC is know your customer, and KYB is know your business, which we check where they're incorporated, who's the real shareholders, because a lot of these companies, you see a lot of scams where people just put a face of a proxy or some dummy face as if he's the CEO of the company, because when they rug, they don't care. The other guy will get the blame, and they took the money. So, yes, we look at all these things. It's very important. We look at jurisdictions. We look at all these aspects.
Thanks, Eran. I mean, it's a really tricky aspect. I mean, with international laws trying to apply on different investments from different continents. I mean, the extent of the rules and what applies is never really clear at the moment. So it's always a little risk to take a little step forward. But thanks for taking the risk. Thanks for making that, because that's something that need to be done, and we need people with your experience and charisma, if I can say, to bring the battle at the right table. I will leave Arnaud asking, because you have some question. I mean, I'll come back later, and I would like also to remind everyone in the listening to the space that if you have questions, they can put comments or to raise their hands, and we can also add them to the question pool. Arnaud, do you have some point to go forward?
Yeah, sure. You know me. Hi, Eran. Thanks for being here. It's great that we can discover you and discover more about BullPerks. I have a couple questions on various topics that you and Philip talked about. So yeah, I'll shoot. The first one is, you talked about how you make deals with networks, and I wanted to know if you could walk us through a deal between an ecosystem like MultiversX and BullPerks. Maybe there's some details you can't disclose, but what do you guys bring to each other?
So, regarding that, a lot of the ecosystems try to launch their own launch pads that will be only for their protocol. Either they did it themselves or supported some team, or just allowed some people to launch a specific chains launch pads. The bottom line is it was a failed experiment. They lost time, money, and none of these launch pads succeeded. So a lot of them realized that instead they just need to go and partner with top launch pads. Now, so for them, the value is they're getting a new community, a big community. Their projects get big exposure, including people outside of their chains that might actually learn about their chain and come and participate in projects there, and later maybe even adopt it and do other things on it. Because, when you launch a new project, a new ecosystem, people need to install new wallets or extensions or stuff like that. They start exploring what is this network, what's the advantages, what's the decentralized, exchanges on it, tools. So they learn a lot more about those ecosystems. So it's a good value for the project, for the ecosystems, the chances of the launches, successful launches for their projects is much better. And for us, from our end, we get projects that are supported by big ecosystem. And, whether it's on the funding they help them or the marketing, influencers, and PR, and so on. So it's, one of the criteria, as I mentioned, when we check a project is to look at their backing, whether it's the VCs, whether it's the KOLs, whether it's the marketing they have, the socials, and so on. So having an ecosystem behind a project is always a plus. And it's good for deal flow, a consistent pipeline. So that's the value for both sides.
Okay, cool. Do you guys have a number of projects that you have agreed upon that MultiversX would send your way or try to send your way each year?
No, we don't have a number. They will send us a project that they support, and we will let them know if we're interested to launch those or not. We'll have the first option, basically.
Okay. Okay, very clear. Thank you for that.
We're
Yeah.
not going to launch projects that we don't think are a fit to our community or that, a fit to our due diligence process just because they came from MultiversX. We'll give it if it's just like with VCs. If the deal comes from a certain VC that we have worked with and we know and we respect and we know and does a lot of work for their projects, then that's already like a warm referral. There is an extra value, but still it needs to fit our criteria.
Yeah, okay. Understood. I have another question about, the launchpad industry is a competitive landscape. In every ecosystem, as you said, you have some launchpads that are specific to this ecosystem, and then I think we have 2 or 3 in the MultiversX ecosystem. There's the foundation launchpad and some other ones, and then you have also, as you said in the beginning of your interview, chain agnostic launchpads like BullPerks. So in this competitive landscape, if I'm a project founder, why should I push? Why should I try to launch my company through BullPerks? What are the things that you're proud of and you feel that are differentiators to make the entrepreneurs that come through BullPerks succeed?
So we've been in the space for almost 3 years now as a launchpad. We've done many launches. So one of the things that we bring to the table is our experience. You learn a lot from launching over 70 projects and investing in over 100. You can avoid a lot of mistakes. That's one. Second, we give advice also to projects, not just take the fee, launch them, and do a public sale, and that's it. We also advise them, sometimes to fix their tokenomics, sometimes regarding VCs, help them with KOLs, help them with marketing. So we help them with connection with exchanges and so on. Now we also look at projects as a long-term partners. Unlike a lot of the other launchpads that are short-term, we try to do it long-term support. I mean, even during the bear market, while a lot of these other launchpads were pretty much dead, we continue to operate and to support our portfolio companies, whether it's doing campaigns together, whether it's retweeting their news, and so on. So that's another thing that differentiates us. And the fact that we are not particular to one chain, it gives the project new possible community, because within the same, ecosystem, it might be saturated. They need additional exposure. So that's what we can bring them that a specific launchpad on one chain can't. So I think it's actually for the best for the project to try and do the mix. Maybe go with a launchpad that is specific and go with a launchpad that can bring different audience.
Okay, thank you. Good. I see in just in the audience there, I see four people that are project founders in the MultiversX ecosystem. Could you, if we deep dive into this expertise that you provide, this the expertise on the various verticals that you talked about, can you give us a bit of light on the actual deal that that those founders could look for if they come to BullBricks? How do you structure the deal when a company wants to come and be launched through your launchpad, and what can they expect out of this?
So the basic ideal works with a percentage of the raise. So you take a percentage of what you raise for them, and that's basically the fees. That's the structure.
Can you give us an idea of the percentage?
Approximately a 10% of
Okay,
what you raise for them. So if you raise for them 200,000, approximately it's a 20,000, and it's a combo of tokens and stables. Now, that's for projects that actually are established and don't need the extra help. If they do need the extra help, then we do have different marketing packages and services packages that we can offer and customize for them based on what they need. If they're way too early and they need a lot of work, then we can offer either an incubation program or advisory. Now, we don't take many, so it's very, very picky, and we only do one or two simultaneously. So we need to make sure that these are projects that we really believe in. And in that sense, the fees are more like an incubator, but cheaper probably, because an incubator these days will ask you 5-6% of your total supply and some liquidation fees and other percentages of what they help you raise, and so on and so on. Some introduction fees, listing fees for exchanges, whatever. So we're a lot more reasonable than that. We don't take an arm and leg. We'll only take a few fingers, maybe. So yeah, that's the process.
Okay, cool. My last question, VCs and launchpads sometimes have investment narratives. Does that relate to BullBricks? Do you guys have a niche that you like, investing in, or specific type of companies tackling a specific problem that you like to incubate or launch?
Good question. We don't. We want to look at project as a whole. If they're good, if they're strong, then it doesn't really matter the sector. We launched projects in AI, infrastructure, protocols, privacy, gaming, metaverse, even fashion, music, pretty much all sectors. We just need to believe that the team is strong, the project is strong, and it can be long-term sustainable. So another thing that's part of our due diligence, which I didn't mention, is checking their business model, their potential revenues, projections. There's no point creating companies if they won't be able to sustain themselves financially. We're not looking for founders that are looking to cash out, but actually build businesses. So, yeah, it's less about the sector. Obviously, there's hot trends every time, and we do listen to the community and try to find projects in that space. For example, now is RWA and AI is very hot. Runes is, and all these Bitcoin ecosystems still hot. So yeah, we do listen to the community. So we try to find projects in those aspects. Oh, I didn't mention DeFi, of course. And so we try to find project in that. But again, if there's a good project, we don't really care what sector.
Okay. Thank you very much for all your answers, Eran.
Thank you for the questions and for listening.
Thanks, Arno, for the question. Thanks, Eran. I really like what I'm hearing. I mean, it's a really good way, I think, to veto project and to simplify and to reassure the investors. I think it's really important. Little question. I mean, maybe a little technical, but I think it's some mechanism that could be beneficial for the ecosystem and your solution. Is there some insurance fund or some pool, in fact, where money goes? Because I have no idea, for example, if on your website, I mean, like various projects, I guess that failed. I mean, if it happens, do you have some incentive or some insurances way to allow and to permit the different investors to get back part of their investment in case of problem? Do you engage yourself on something like that? For example, that a fraction of each investment go in a fund, and in case of one of the project fail, that could reimburse some of the users. I mean, I saw some discussion around launchpads and things like that to engage the responsibility of the launchpad. What's your thought about that? I mean, like as you're already doing due diligence and bringing more transparency, do you think that launchpad should take the risk, or at least should take that in consideration to create more incentive and reassure investors on your platforms?
So that's actually a very good question and a good idea. We looked into it, to be honest. Now, we do have refund policies currently in place. We might cancel them once we feel that the bull market is fully in the bull market. We used to have a long-term, protection policy, refund policy, where project had to stay above IDO price for over 50% until they released more than 50% of the tokens to the community, and we would hold their funds and release them only based on their progress and the vestings. That being said, a lot of other launchpads took it to the extreme and created refund policies where people are fully protected for 24 to 48 hours launches, sometimes even 7 days. So we had to adjust and implement those also, which I'm not a fan of, because I think that, crypto and investments in general is a risky business. There's no guarantees for success. But the best you can do is minimize the risk and try to have more wins than losses. So right now we still have these refund policies. They will get canceled once we feel the market is more bullish and more consistent. So not volatile like it is right now. So we'll see how things go after the halving. Hopefully we do better. So we don't have insurance. It is a good idea. That being said, as I said, you can't protect everyone and everything. People expect high reward, so they should be willing to take high risk. If you're not interested in high risk, trade spot. Go for tokens that already exist, although still risky. They still can go down 50% or RUG or whatever. But launching new projects is a huge risk and can come with big rewards. But yes, there's no guarantees. We have more winners than losers, and that's why we were ranked in the top 10, top 5. But in the end of the day, I think every platform has or will have some losers at some point.
Yeah, that's definitely true what you're saying. I mean, we are on an early ecosystem and an early market. There's a lot of money that can be made, but the money need to come from someone that is losing it. I mean, we always try to remind our audition, our listener on the different space that it's never safe at 100%. I mean, people, if they want to expect to make 100 times their investment, there's definitely a giant risk of going to zero. What I'm saying to people is usually over 3 projects, 2 are failing and 1 is successful, and that should pay back, in fact, the money invested in the rest. And I think, I mean, it's pretty clear on your communication and on your website that there's risk, and I think that's really important to put forward. And I think transparency, it's something that you are making really important on your platform for your different users, and also regarding the decentralization and the different aspect on that. I mean, that will be the subject on the second part of this space regarding decentralization and governance. Regarding bull perks and this aspect, I mean, I didn't use the platform, to be honest. I did not. Maybe in the future I would get more interest. I need to do my KYC and everything, but I took the time to go on your platform. That is really great, by the way. I mean, your AX developer, I mean, as a dev myself, I can just say that things have been done properly, even on the background. What's your approach regarding decentralization and governance? Because you always try to veto project and to ensure security, at least as much as the market can provide. Would you like in the future to incorporate more the vision and the point of view of your community, or at least not having you as the last decision maker, if I can say? You say earlier on the discussion that when the community is pushing for a project, even if you don't believe really into it, but you need some time to make the deal. It's important to follow on that. But how much, in fact, and how far are you in that decentralization and on this governance with your users?
Okay, so you need to separate it to 2 aspects. One aspect is the decentralization of the platform. So as long as you pass the KYC, you can be from anywhere and you can be anyone. We're very affordable to get into our tiers. So we try to get as many people to be more inclusive in that sense. We also do everything with smart contracts. So whether the investments where you invest the money into smart contracts, or whether when you claim your tokens, it all comes from smart contracts. We try to do it as automatic as possible and less manual and less individuals involved and more smart contracts involved. From the decision making about projects and stuff like that, then sometimes you're super convinced about a project and you'll bring it to the launchpad. In other cases, we do polls among the community of which trends or which type of project they want us to bring. We sometimes actually bring specific projects and ask the community, or at least our top holders, if they would be interested in us launching this project or not. So we try to constantly listen to the community and get their feedbacks and do polls as much as we can. But in the end of the day, people talk a lot about DAOs. But show me a company in the real world that is controlled by a DAO. In the end of the day, there needs to, or a country. In the end of the day, you need to have someone at the top making the hard decision, the final decision. If you start opening it to everyone and voting on everything, then you're not going to get anywhere. I mean, opinions are like, sand. It's everywhere. Everyone has one. But so try to get five people to agree to something. It's hard. Get tens of thousands or thousands of people to agree. It's impossible. The problem with DAOs right now that I see, I'm not a big supporter of DAOs because in most cases, DAOs were created by founders in order to dump responsibility. So they created these DAOs in order to be able to cash out and walk away and say, okay, I gave it to the DAO, I gave it to the people, to the community. Now it's up to them to hold the projects, to manage the project, to make the decision. I cashed out, I took my tokens, fuck it. Sorry about the language. There's very few real DAOs and successful ones. I hope it will happen. I mean, I'm all in favor, but it's a little utopic and naive sometimes. And unfortunately, it's been used as a tool to just dump responsibility and cash out.
Yeah,
We try to listen, we try to, involve the community, but it's not a DAO.
Yeah, it's a really great point that you're making because we see a lot of projects, like you say, using DAO and at the end pushing that the community are in power when they have more than 50% of votes just at the team itself. So it's a DAO, but it's just more about we are listening to you, and at the end that can justify what we are doing in any direction. And that's also the risk. I mean, to have so many powers and so much responsibility, if I can say, concentrated in one person or one few person into a project. Even
Yes.
more.
It is amusing to see sometimes these DAOs and these votes. I mean, the team controls most of the tokens or the big VCs that invested. So you and me, the regular people, we can do whatever we can say or think whatever we want. They will make the decision anyway, but they'll pretend that it was a mutual decision.
And do you have some mechanism in mind or anything like a veto that could improve that? I mean, with your experience in DAO projects, have you seen some mechanism a little innovative that brings more value from your side?
I mean, I have some opinions. I think that, if you look at some companies, so people are selected to the board, kind of a board. So there are representatives from the company and there are representatives of the people, that the people voted for them, and there are representatives of the VCs. So it's more like reflective of everyone. So that's, I think, is a more interesting kind of structure where the public has a say, the VC have a say, and the project have a say, but they have to agree together because no one has enough votes on their own to make the decision.
Yeah, for transparency, maybe it would be interesting to, when there is vote on your platform or DAO, even on MultiversX, to have like maybe the characteristic of the voter, if they are validator, if they are builder, if they are simple user, if they are project owners, if they are investors. I mean, like we try to on MultiversX, I mean, probably you know also, but I'm repeating for people listening and not knowing maybe, but there is this way of energy. So the more you are stacking egos, the more you have voting power, and you can use this voting power to make decision on the network. At the moment, it's still ongoing, and there is a lot of things to improve, but that's why we're to discuss. It's a difficult subject, definitely. It's something nobody, like you say, we cannot have everyone agreeing on one aspect. I mean, me, I'm a big advocate on saying that more or less all the be taken in consideration and allowed. But I mean, it's an ongoing process. Democracy, it's old and evolved a lot over the last millennium. So it's something to work all together. I know your time is short, so I will go just maybe with last question, and maybe we can. I don't know if you have time, but. Otherwise, I don't want to block you too much. Regarding MultiversX, just I mean, and also your Bullpack platform, you have a token. So you created a token for this platform that people can stack and allow them to participate on the different launchpad. This token is currently on the BSC. Do you plan to integrate it natively on the MultiversX ecosystem?
To be honest, not sure. I mean, it was in discussion, but as a matter of adoption, MultiversX needs some work. It's not as big adoption, as some of these other ecosystems. So for our token, since we already created it on Binance Chain, it doesn't make a lot of sense to move it to a smaller chain. But, we will consider it.
Yeah, because our report are wondering also if they can buy it on X exchange. I mean, it's true that MultiversX it's a young chain. I mean, like compared to it's not comparable to BSC or any layer one at this level. And maybe that would be a quick question for you. But what MultiversX should do differently, maybe to grow bigger and faster in the way that we are all expecting it to reach in a few years? I mean, if you have some thought about it, I would be curious to hear them.
I have a lot of feedbacks to chains. I mean, the problem is a lot of chains focus on technology. In crypto, it's not just technology. Marketing, connections with communities, with KOLs, making it easy to adopt and use, like integrations with MetaMasks or stuff like that, with the biggest wallets. This is what are the keys right now for all these new chains. This is what will differentiate chain that will succeed and chain that will go extinct. I mean, I know some chains that have the best technology. I mean, you can take, since I don't want to talk specifically about Multiverse, but look at, for example, Tezos. Tezos was one of the top 10 chains, to be honest with you. Great technology, but not easy to implement. Foundation didn't support the project that we're building on it. They're more focused on the tech and the research and the development rather than the adoption and the communities and the project to bring on board. So now, no one really uses it, to be honest. And it's a shame because it has a great tech, had a lot of potential, in my opinion. And I see many others. I can give you a list of names of top chains that, from technology aspect, they're much better than most of the chains that we use today. Much better technology. But it's kind of like, when you do an MBA, they teach you about, at least they used to, because I'm old school. I'm much older than probably all of you. So they teach you that the story of the cassettes, video cassettes. I mean, some of you might not even know what that is, but, when in our generation, they used to do video cassettes, and that's how you would watch movies. There was alpha and there was beta, different type of cassettes by size and some other parameters. They teach you in business school that the one that succeeded was not the one with the better tech. It was the one with the better partnerships and better funnels. So the same thing here. What I would say to MultiversX is they need to work on partnerships. They need to work on adoption, on communities, on influencers, on marketing, on PR, if they want to compete with all these other chains.
Thanks. Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, me as a builder, I mean, a technical guy. I mean, when I discovered MultiversX, that's really the technology that brought me there and that kept me there. And the rest, I mean, I can only agree. I mean, I hope that we will see the technology winning the same way that we saw Yahoo disappearing and the codes when Google arrived with a simple script, but we not also forgot, like you say, the win of Blu-ray over HD DVD just because of video game. So it's a constant we need to think about. Arno would like to ask the last question.
Yeah, no, I think what Eran just said was very enlightening. But it's interesting because you mentioned Tezos and also MultiversX, and those are two chains based in Europe. And when you notice at the chains that are, up there in terms of usage, because MultiversX is not necessarily a young chain. I mean, it's the same age as Solana, for instance, but Solana is a US chain. And so I wanted to understand, in your opinion, how those market dynamics play a role, because last week, for instance, we had there was a space, and you had several layer 1 representatives, and basically they were all US or English native speaker, and there was Benjamin, and there was the representative for Avalanche, the representative for Solana, and a couple more chains, and the guys who were speaking were Americans from the US, and I know that in the tech industry, and basically in any industry also, but when you're a native company, you launch in the US, you have a huge advantage because it's one country, it's a massive market right from the start. Whereas compared to launching in Europe, you launch in France or you launch in Germany, then when you're looking to expand in Europe, it's not that easy as in the States where everybody speaks the same language, it's the same regulation. You have to start over every time. Do you think those market dynamics play a role even for blockchains?
So, first of all, I have to correct you. A lot of the founders that you mentioned of these ecosystems are not Americans or even native English speakers. There's Russians or Eastern Europeans. There's a lot of Asians, and they're not native English speakers.
I was talking about the people in this space, in this specific live space, and they were all BD, head of BD for those chains.
Yes, but head of BD you can hire. That's not a problem.
Yeah. I agree.
I'm talking about where the chain came from. So what is important is who is backing you. And that's where you are correct. Because if you have the A16Z backing, whether it's from the US or you have Sequoia, which is from Asia, and so on, if you have these big players behind you giving you a lot of money, your chance to succeed is much bigger. Now, I do think you need, obviously, English-speaking representative in every continent, or, people that are in every continent speak their native language. I mean, if you want to expand to Latin America, for example, no offense, but you can't have a Romanian BD trying to expand there. You need a local speaking Spanish or Portuguese. So, yes, you have to adjust. So the BDs, obviously, they all speak English because that is the most spoken language and makes it easier to communicate. But it's not about where the founders came from. It's where the money came from and the support. I actually think that in some ways it is advantageous to actually come from a different country and not from the US, because US everyone's competing for the same. If you come from a smaller country, you actually have a chance to control a niche crowd, an audience, use this as a showcase, as a proof of concept for your product, and then expand. When you're already strong, then you can compete in the bigger markets. You have already a traction that the bigger players and the community, the new markets see you as an actual player. If you came, to compete in the same level with them, in the same space, same country, you'll be another fish in the bowl. But you are already a shark and established in a certain niche, they will treat you with more respect. You have better chances of success. So I don't think this is actually correct. I actually think that, the fact that the chain was built in Romania and it's not necessarily a bad thing. If they leverage their following and took advantage of it, I think they would be much stronger than a lot of other chains, because other chains have just a hype following. Right now it's new, right now it's sexy, the people follow. When you come from a niche country, from a niche space or country or something like that, you have a cult following. You have a much stronger base, which you can build on. So it's not necessarily a disadvantage, in my opinion.
Okay, thanks for your opinion on this.
Sure.
Thanks, Arno. Thanks, Eran. Eran, do you have still some minutes, or you need to leave us?
I can have a few more, and then I do need to go to events.
Okay. So I just have few additional questions. I mean, because your parkour and all the projects you participate, I mean, like you have also a nice vision of the ecosystem and the use cases of the project. I mean, something that we didn't talk about, but I would like at least to have a word from you regarding that is like gaming in Web3. I mean, like you have a big role into that. You have also a platform, a product called GameSpad, if I'm not wrong. For you, gaming would be the next trend, I guess. For what I heard, for what I saw on your timeline on Twitter and on the different interviews you could have done in the past, I mean, gaming would be an important trend for the next bull run. I mean, I cannot agree more, to be honest, because as we saw with the Blu-ray again, HD DVD, it was definitely gaming and gamers that makes the decision. It's an important aspect of the business today. There's a lot of money in this in this universe. Why did you choose? I mean, between RWA and also gaming, why there's different? There's different products, if I would say different, are the most important for you at the moment. I mean, and in the coming years with the bull run, could you tell us what do you expect from this product regarding interoperability, metaverse? We have the sovereign share MultiversX, but let's not talk about that maybe another day. But what would be the biggest challenge that the industry should have to resolve in the coming years to take their fair place and fair shares of the Web3 ecosystem?
So I agree. Gaming is huge. And gaming is one of the best ways for adoption. I mean, there's, in reality, based on history, two sectors usually drove progress. One is gaming, the other one is porn. So we're not going to talk about the porn aspect, but yes, there's huge amount of gamers, which is just growing, and they're spending more and more time online. Now, we have seen in the previous cycle, the first gaming projects, there was a hype and then it died. And a lot of those games died. It's usually the way cycles work. So there's always the first ones, the opportunistic ones, the trendsetters. Those usually don't succeed long term. But the second wave is the wave of the more mature, more experienced, better products. So the gaming, the first round, a lot of shit, a lot of cash grabs, a lot of products that were developed within a few weeks. Now what we're seeing and what we're trying to support is the entrance of the big players, and creating real products, games that were developed over a few years, sometimes by individuals, which, it's not a bad thing to let them compete against the big players like the Ubisoft of the world. So we like both, but we want to see products that have been built for a while, real gameplays, interesting games. The previous cycles was more a play to earn, that, people only participated in those projects in order to make money. The second that there was no money to be made, or it was less, they just left it. This round, what we're trying to support is more of a model of play and earn. So games that actually people want to play, that they would play no matter what. And on top of that, they get some earnings, so it's a win-win for them, for their projects. The biggest problem is adoption. And a lot of projects are trying to solve it by bringing Web 2 gamers and trying to make it very seamless to enter into the blockchain and to crypto. Whether it's on the wallet side, that you don't need seed phrases and install new wallets and stuff like that, but make it easy with emails or face recognition or stuff like that. So, we see a lot of projects which we are supporting that are more infrastructure, allowing Web3 Web2 developers and traditional world gaming studios to transition very smoothly into Web3 development. Because, you have all these studios that are now looking, and it's interesting to explore the space, but hey, they don't have, developers, blockchain developers and smart contract developers and all that stuff. So there's a lot of projects now building these platforms and SDKs to allow them to just bring over their existing projects or their new projects into blockchain without actually needing those developers. So I definitely see the space growing, maturing. Of course, there's still some shit and some cash grabs and opportunistic plays, but you also see the big games, the ones that are here to stay, the ones that want to become the next Fortnite. So, yeah, that's my opinion about it.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I think it's something that people should keep in mind. It's people are expecting epic games with Fortnite to come into blockchain and all these things, but for them it's too risky to make this move. It's like Steam, when you have the achievement and all the bonuses that you can get through games, but you want to keep them through different games. There's a lot of mechanisms and incentives to create ecosystems. We have to see, I think, some new actors emerging in the Web3 that create, I would think, a social layer. It's another discussion we can have with SocialFi. It's something also you talk about quite a lot, even if you're not convinced at 100%. But I think we'll have this platform that allowed, because as you say, people come, follow trend. You will play a game for 6 months because there's a huge incentive on playing to earn money. And when this incentive move away, or there's a better one on another game, people will just move to another narrative. And that's a problematic we see on a lot of projects. And that probably slow down big actors to join in the battle and be part of this bloodbath. We just see few actors following their roadmap, delivering a product of quality for this gamer. So I mean, it will be a big trend. I mean, we need to be aware of what's happening around in this regard. But also, we need, as you explain what you're doing on Bullperch, we need also to make our own research and do diligence to see if the project has the team behind, has the ambition and the capacity to hold a real project on this scale, because making a product and maintaining it over the time is not an easy game. It's not something that can be done overnight and learn overnight. You need specialists and for all these aspects. So thanks a lot. Maybe you want to say last thing, Eran, before to leave us. Maybe you want to call for some some project managers and some creator of project that they maybe want to apply to Bullperch. Do you have a last word for everyone?
Not really. I mean, if they want to apply, we're more than happy to look at the projects and see if that they fit or not, and maybe even give them some free advice on what they can improve. But I really appreciate everyone's time listening to me talking for over an hour. I appreciate it. So thank you very much, guys, for having me and for listening. And I wish you a great week.
Thanks a lot, Eran, for your time. It was really great to have you. Hope to have you again in the coming weeks, or that we can organize another MvX with you, another space. I think you put the finger on a lot of problematic of the ecosystem and how to resolve them, and I think that's the best way to go forward. Thanks a lot again. Take care of you. I hope the situation in Dubai get better and that you can enjoy the token edition, or at least side event or anything like that to relax and make more networks. I mean, thanks for your time, Eran.
Thank you. Have a good one. Bye, guys.
Bye. Okay. Bon, that was a nice one. I mean, I have to say that was really interesting discussion. I mean, was a little hard to listen on the multiverse side. I mean, we are still a small ecosystem. I mean, but at least we bring interest and people recognize our value from a technical point of view. So yeah, I don't know what have you thought about this interview. I mean, really impressed by this guy.
I think there's that's something that I also felt last week so the interview I talked about, where you had various layer ones speaking with each other on several topics, and Benjamin was there for MultiversX, and you had several chains besides, no chain founders on those calls, only BD, business development representatives, and all the biz dev representatives, they were American, all of them. And the way they communicated, navigating the questions of the host, and it wasn't a small space, you had like 600 people listening to this. So we know the metrics when people will listen to that again, 600 people live means that you at least have 10,000 coming in over an hour and a half, and then you have listeners over 3 or 4x that. So this is a big space, and the way those American guys were answering and navigating those questions was completely different than the way Benjamin was navigating them. And later, after this space, I joined, X spaces of DB and Rad, and we talked about this. And I think that Eran is absolutely right when he says that when you are making marketing efforts towards a specific market, you need natives. You absolutely need natives in those efforts. So when we hear Benjamin saying that they're going to expand towards the US, they're going to expand towards South Korea, and they're going to expand towards Turkey, I want to see team members popping in those countries. I mean, if the US is a priority, we need an American person to represent MultiversX there. Not just because it's not because the team doesn't do a good job. It's just that you can't ignore the fact that culture is super important. And people have codes, and American people have codes. And this is a huge market that could make a difference towards MultiversX growth. Other chains, and Eran was right, of course, the founders of Solana, they're not from the US, the founders of Ethereum, some of them are not from the US, but some of them are from the US. I mean, Ryan Selkis is from the US, Hoskinson is from the US, but those guys, they're backed by some American VCs, and they have American talents in their teams. And I think that it's important that that MultiversX does the same, because otherwise, when you have people from a very different culture coming in, even if they're good, it doesn't have the same impact. And American people, they're very patriotic. They're very proud of their country, their economy. And if you have a foreigner coming in, it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. So yeah, that's what I have to say about that point. On the rest, Eran is an interesting person. He most definitely has some experience, and I'm hoping to see that we will have some MultiversX projects going through the Bullperks launchpad.
Yeah, thanks. No, it's true. I mean, it's a complaint that I gave to the team since quite a long time that there's too many Romanian people. I mean, as much as I like Romania and Romania.
No. I don't think that's how you want to say it. There's not too many Romanian people. In an American company, you have American people, but when you go abroad, when you want to become a global company, you need to add up from other cultures. So there's not too many Romanian people. It's a Romanian company, so it's great that you have Romanian people. But now, when you expand, it's time to expand the team, and you need people from the local markets that are important to you. I've experienced it in the past in some tech startups that were growing. They expanded. For example, France was a key market. I was hired, and the company was not from France, and I was hired to drive and run the French market because it was key in Europe. French market is a big one, so they needed someone, and yeah, that's normal. So I think this is a red flag. Honestly, I can't stress it enough. The problem is not that it is a Romanian company. The problem potentially is that if you're targeting the US market and you don't have US people driving this effort, this is a problem.
I mean, I would just say one thing, and I will leave Joachim. I mean, you're more politically correct than me, so I give it that to you. I mean, yeah, I mean, like you say, I mean, me, when Eran talked about like getting more influencer and more like people communicating about the blockchain, I mean, we saw that in France 2 years ago with Ausha, with Amixem. There have been budget and some stuff put forward on that, and then nothing anymore. I mean, we were expecting, and I think you too, that there is a second wave like for US and for Korea. We haven't seen it yet. I mean, after I'm not really integrated into the Korean influencer universe. So I don't know if it's something done on this side, but not that I heard about. But I mean, let's hope that the next bull run will be the nice moment to push that forward and that the team is ready. I mean, we heard about the extension to new markets since a long time. Having offices in US, for example, or in Asia would be a really big plus. Now with the restructuration, with X Money, Portugal, like all these different companies, they probably have been under the hood for that. But I hope we will see that soon. Joachim, you want to add something?
Yeah, a bit on the topic as you were saying. To take a similar example to Arno, I joined the World Poker Tour.
Joachim, your mic is really not good right now. We have an echo and you're from far away.
I confirm.
Sorry, buddy.
Can you try to...
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, he was really in the car, I think. He really wanted to say something, but the Twitter god said no. I mean, it happened. Honestly, today, the Twitter god has been good. Huh? We didn't get so many troubles, so many issues. I mean, I just got kicked at the very beginning when I was alone, and I became co-host on my own stuff. I mean, nobody was host anymore. But solution, I mean, the interview was good. I think we can wait maybe 5 minutes for Joachim to take the hand, to raise his hand if you want to say something, if he fixes his microphone about the interview. And maybe we can go on the next subject of today. That will be about the vote on MultiversX and the governance, a follow-up on the MultiversX space that have been held on Monday, and also the discussion that we started. I mean, it was really interesting yesterday what we did in French. I think it would be really nice to do something similar in English, taking consideration that ultimately would be a good initiative to open a new subject on the Agora regarding the voting, the decentralization of the votes, the tokens, the soulbound token, how they can be used, delegation of vote. I mean, there's a lot of subjects on the table. I invite also everyone here with us to take the parole if they want to talk about this subject, or even if you have point of view or regarding what Eran said to us earlier. So don't be shy and raise your hand if you want. And I think we will go for an open discussion on governance. We covered the news quickly before the interview regarding Dubai and the announcement. Maybe you wanted me to explain a little more about the space sharding and why MultiversX is the best place for interplanetary financial system. Maybe I can take a few minutes about that. Joachim, you're not trying. I mean, you're still stuck on something strange.
You know, I'm still in the car, so it's going to be complicated if you're still hearing me and clearly.
That was better, but we can try that later. So let's jump on the next subject. So open discussion, guys. If you want, just raise your hands. We will not keep you everyone more than necessary, but I think it's an important subject. And if you are here, you are curious to learn more about what is happening in our beautiful MultiversX universe and even around. I mean, if you have knowledge or point of view from other blockchain and from other partners, from other influencers about how decentralized vote should be held, we'll be curious to hear them either in comments or by raising your hands. In the meantime, I will just finish what I started earlier regarding one of the announcements of MultiversX and the interplanetary blockchain technology. I mean, for those who don't know, I had the chance to work in space industry for over 10 years for Airbus, Thales, and ESA. And MultiversX has been more or less the technology that pulled me out of space industry to focus on blockchain, because that can resolve a lot of problematics regarding cooperation, like international mostly, and reduce centralization of information under one actor, because that's one of the main problematic today. Because in space industry, like in few other, like finance, that has been the first targeted by blockchain, you need to have like a trusted trusted middleman, if I can say. And if you have, let's say, a problematic geopolitics problem between two big, powerful countries around the world, these things doesn't work anymore. So to come back on why MultiversX, this announcement regarding interplanetary, it seems a little over the hood, but in fact, no. In fact, it's the only technology, the charging, that can allow that kind of economics. Because let me just put quickly the problematic in space. The communication time between planets, between even Earth and Moon, cannot be compressed. Between Earth and Moon, you have between 0.8 and 1.4 seconds for one-way signal. So just that everyone have that in mind, you will never play multiplayer video games with someone on another planet or on Moon. That will not be possible. So it's something that you need to consider when you put in place that kind of technology. And MultiversX, in fact, with the capacity of charging and having this seamless bridge, in fact, between the different entities and the different shards, will allow, in fact, to deploy shards directly on the Moon with their own servers and have this seamless bridge that could transfer the information with the delay taken in consideration. It's not something that is possible with normal bridges because you need to have a quick communication between the two blockchain API and a lot of different actors that makes the arbitration between both. The sharding implemented like MultiversX is doing will allow you to create a shard for the Moon, a shard for Mars, have his own little economics that people can exchange to buy goods directly on Mars, I would say Mars instead of the Moon, and then send back, work there, make money there, and send back money on the main chain directly on Earth with a delay, but still with all the security and the seamlessness of the token. Maybe I should write a paper about that. Or maybe we can host another space about this subject because it's quite interesting, like all the different aspects and use cases that MultiversX can cover with that from a security point of view and for also the versatility of the solution from finance, from storage of data, so it's really interesting subject. But yeah, maybe if there's no question regarding that, because I guess it's a little abstract. Maybe we can jump on the vote, the governance vote on MultiversX. So I hope that everyone here took the time to connect to the website and vote for the governance vote on MultiversX. Right now we are only at 30.90% of participation, and the vote is ending in 2 days. So it's never too late to do your duties, guys. And maybe we can take 2 minutes and start a discussion about that. I will see, because I would like to invite maybe more people, but I'm not sure if they are available for this discussion for follow-up from Monday. I have to see with them. But let's get ready for that if you want. Arnaud, something to say before that we jump on the discussion?
Nobody, keep free to go on the next topic.
Okay, but let's go. So yeah, so on Monday we had a discussion. So I've been invited. Was also interesting to be invited with the MultiversX space to talk with Davey, with Alex, with Classic about blockchain and the decentralization vote that is ongoing, and to make a call to action for everyone. But this discussion at the end raised more and more good ideas, I think, that need to be put on forward and right on the Agora. I would like to do that in the coming days, and I would like to use this space, in fact, to resume the different opportunities and concepts that we would like to see coming on our ecosystem. So let's talk about voting and democracy, because that's what we are all about today. Today we are all part of a democracy, I think, here. Maybe I can be wrong, but that's what we are. But I think a lot of people also from our age and our generation are not really involved or don't feel represented properly with their people at the parliament and at the Senate. It's something that we see more and more. The young people are not voting. They are not feeling really inclined and integrated, and their vote doesn't matter. With right or good reason. I'm not the one judging for that. I moved from France a few years, almost 10 years ago already. And that's true that I didn't took part of voting sessions since then. Maybe once for the European, maybe, I'm not even sure. But it's something that in fact nobody see really a lot of advantages except taking the time. And even if you take the time to do your own research, to learn about the people you're voting for, it will not make a huge difference. I mean, blockchain have been created with the idea of create a more decentralized approach, a new democracy based on technology and on trustless infrastructure. And I think we need to leverage all this different technology and see how we can apply it on an ideal, I use code, you don't see me, but I use code, on an ideal system to take in consideration as much as opinion, give the right value of the opinion on everyone, and to be sure that all the nice debate and all the nice idea are talked about, put forward, and not just throw on everyone's faces with a yes or no. I mean, it's something that's could be okay for the beginning, for the starting of a blockchain, but quickly we need to have a way for people to be more part of it, to be more representative of their community, of their project, of their needs, on their concern, and define properly the different aspects of our blockchain and our new system, if I can say. So yeah. Today, I mean, on any blockchain, on any DAO, as much as Eran also say that sometimes it doesn't work, and that's true. I mean, DAO have pros and cons. I mean, like we described earlier, but we need to don't forget that we are all here because we believe in decentralization. We believe on the fact that everyone should at least be part of the decision process, and let's say. Take decisions that matter and can be also capable to initiate decision and debate. So if we put that all in perspective, I mean, what would be the best systems that can be put in place? I mean, in short, middle, long term, to embrace this vision. I mean, right now, I mean, I'm the only one to talk. I mean, so it's fine. But I would just maybe present what I believe would be the best approach, or at least where in which direction we should go. And let's see. I mean, MultiversX recently, I mean, if you vote for the delegation, for the votes, the decentralization votes, the governance vote, you receive something called a soulbound token. So the soulbound token will be a proof of you voted for the protocol. It's one of the incentives that have been put forward and bringing more advantages. That still need to be defined, to be honest. One from the protocol, so that means that you will get advantages from the protocol itself, still need to be defined, but also create an incentive for projects to bring value, in fact, for people, or reduce fees, or to give advantages for people doing their, if I can say, their Web3 citizen duty. It's an interesting approach. I mean, we need to see how we can create incentive for projects to take that in consideration in their business plan and in their platform. But it's a new trend. I think it's a new vision that we can see on the. A lot of people will say that disagree with me, but that we can see, for example, on the social score, like in China, where in fact what you're doing for you. I'm not comparing to that. Not the point, but everyone, in fact, have a citizen score, if I can say, on the way that they are teaching other people in the ecosystem, how people are seeing them as someone that understands their problematics and that can represent them on the democracy, and go forward in discussion and bring the right subject on the table before that the main team, the core team of MultiversX bring them themselves. I mean, I think it's something we are still a small ecosystem, that's true, but I think we need to have more and more actors of the ecosystem taking the lead in terms of pointing problem or pointing like good path that we should take, and come with an idea on how to implement that, how to incentive the users, and how to make these things more possible. Give me a second. Okay. So yeah, and in this regard, I think one of the main aspects that need to be put forward is, like in the real world, the delegation of vote. So that means that today we ask people. So if you go on the governance.multiversx.com, you have the page of the proposal. I mean, if you're not technical or if you're not like really embedded into the ecosystem, I can imagine Solana's people all are selling X Portal, buying like 2 or 3 e-gold. They will never take the time to learn about the protocol really and to have a vote on the proposal that makes really sense or that's really representative of what they really want, even for themselves. And what's really important would be the delegation. So to be capable to delegate my vote to a trusted person that I know believe in the same vision or the same approach of the ecosystem and the Web3. And I want to give him, in fact, my vote to represent me without me being impacted by the vote. Maybe I would be on holiday, so I go on holiday for 2 weeks, for example. The vote will be there. I don't want to bring my ledger whatsoever. I will delegate my vote directly to Joachim or Arnaud, and they will be able to vote. I will believe them. Or not? That's a question to see later, like in terms of anonymity of the pool. But the idea would be to be able to delegate for different people. That can bring a lot of advantages, I guess, for different points. First of all, if you're an influencer or builders, if you receive the votes of your community to take decision on the protocol itself, or maybe on more vote in the future, because we are just talking about protocol at the moment, but could be also some features for X portal or anything like that. Yeah. But I'm talking alone. I mean, Arnaud, Joachim, something to say? I mean, it's a complex subject.
Yeah, I'll just add something. As we say, this is the first time MultiversX adds an extra incentive in a way that they're saying like you'll get a soulbound SFT when you vote, which in reality, I've been thinking about it since we talked about it a while yesterday. Is like you can just do one API call and check which addresses have interacted with the voting smart contract to be able to know. So in reality, there's no additional information, no additional value given through that soulbound SFT other than it's more tangible towards the user, and it might incentivize projects in the future to interact or give an airdrop or other things to those users without having to take those extra steps, which are API calls, etc. So I think it's like a small gamification, even if I'm not a big fan of this word, when it comes to voting, at least. That in reality is just like an extra step of some information we already have.
Yeah, it's something that I've been we talked also yesterday regarding gamification. That's true. That's something that we need to take care of and be really concerned that voting should really be just about voting. That's why I was talking more about the social score than a token or a soulbound NFT that will give you advantages. For me, it should be, like I said yesterday, just a pins saying I voted, and that people know that these people voted. It's I don't know if it's you, Arnaud, that said that yesterday, or I know it was Olam, I think, that talked about the non-gamification. I mean, we should have maybe call the question to Eran, or maybe next time, regarding taking these aspects in consideration for gaming. That could be an interesting point. I mean, I don't know if you have something to say, Arnaud, regarding that, gaming and voting. I mean,
it was a conversation that we were a bit all in, and mainly Joachim and Olam, about how gamification can be good or bad. You don't want people to just cast a vote for the sake of getting a soulbound token. I think that was Joachim's point. And I agree to that extent. I think gamification is a way that we do things now, because it is our generations that is now in their 30 years old, around that, and we are now in the age of building companies and doing stuff. And since we've been born and raised with video games, we like to put gamification in everything that we do. So I think that's a good point. Since our conversation yesterday, I think I reflected a bit on all of this, and the problem is not that like people who are interested in understanding what's at stake with the governance are going to dig and are going to vote, and that's fine. People who are not interested in all of this, and they don't dig and they don't go and vote, that's fair, you know. What's important is that we make sure that all the people who are interested are engaged, and so to do that, it's a communication business, and so we want to make sure that the people who are interested can vote, can have the information, can digest the information, and form their opinions. And that's okay if it's only 30% of all the EGLD holders. That's fine. It's a big enough representation of the blockchain to have a fair vote. So that's fine by me. And then we can find if vote metric, a number of voters is something that is important, then as you previously touched based upon Philip, there are most likely cool mechanisms that we can create to boost that number. But to me, that's, you know, it's a minor thing.
Joachim?
Yeah, I think Arno is raising a very interesting point on the fact that who do we want to vote in reality? Like, are we more important, let's say, of having like 90% participation, but people just clicked the button and did no research about it, that didn't form an opinion? Or do we prefer having, let's say, 10% participation, but those 10% are people who've actually like done the work and know what's at stake? Because does it really represent the ecosystem if we're just pressing a button without looking any further? I think it doesn't. I think actually having fewer people, but that they are fully like engaged in what they're voting for and standing for is much more important. And to go back to that, I think the priority of the MultiversX team should be more about giving the power to communities and users to be able to start a vote, which we can't do right now. We can only discuss them on the Agora, but we don't have the power yet to submit something to create a vote. I think this step is much more important to getting more users engaged and giving their opinion and discussing about the future of MultiversX, rather than giving a soulbound token so you get 5% more participation during this vote.
I think that's a brilliant point, Joachim. Just imagine MultiversX team leveraging all the big NFT communities within the ecosystem by making a partnership deal around the governance vote to come, making a challenge for the best creation about the vote and the governance vote that will come out in any way. It can be a thread, it can be a video, whatever. This community will win something. Something could be, I don't know, a booth at the next X Day event or something like that. You know, the options are, you know, there's so many options to engage in a meaningful way. But then you build a connection with the communities that have been formed by the community. I mean, MultiversX didn't go out there to make sure that NFT projects were created. So those NFT projects, they exist because you have actual communities backing them. And so this could be a fun and meaningful way for more people to know about the vote and to form an opinion in a very meaningful way. So, and those things, it comes down to creativity, to creative marketing, and I think that, yeah, MultiversX could improve in that sense.
Thanks, Arno. No, it's. I think it's a complex subject that we'll probably not finish even if we speak for 8 hours. But it's important to like you said, both of you. I mean, like it's important to take in consideration the different different users and the different use cases and how they know the blockchain, because I guess when you look at the Vega 1.7 protocol upgrade, I mean, like I think maybe 20% of the people that voted really understand what's happening and what's behind. Even at MvX and on the rest of the ecosystem, we talked a lot about it, about the stacking before, what you can bring in good, in bad. From a technical point of view, Sasu discussed a lot on X about it. So there's a lot of discussion ongoing, and still, I think the understanding on the consequences and what it can bring are still limited in the user pool. I guess if I can just separate, like if we can put terms, in fact, on the different users, I will categorize them this way. I will say that you have the validators that understand the protocol, understand the possibility, understand the ESDC standard and all these things. You have also the builders that are building using the tool, everything that is SDK, the choice of languages and partnership that can improve their experience and their productivity. That's something that's another aspect. Then you have the investors that are just thinking about APR, that are just thinking about, I want to bring more TVL on the blockchain, I want more DeFi, I want more DEX, I want more bridges. And that's a fair point to defend also, definitely. And you have I would say the last part, that are more or less our family or parents that we managed to make them install X Portal, bought some e-gold, and don't have really the need, the will, and will not have the motivation to just take the effort going on the website, to connect with their wallet, to just make a vote on something they don't understand. We don't do it, most of the French people don't even do it for European vote. I mean, I think it's similar in other countries, but in France, I think we are 20 or 30% of participation, a little like that. Well, it's something that impacts directly their lives. So if we want to create more incentive on people to vote, I think we need to have, like in democracy, different levels for them to be capable to expose themselves on what they would like to see things evolving, and to regroup their vote together to simplify the exploitation and the participation. So what do you think? I mean, if we can jump on vote delegation, so the fact that I can delegate my vote to someone, maybe we should discuss about that a little and the different impact that it can add and advantages that it can create. Joachim, you have something to say about that?
Yeah, so when it comes to delegation, I kind of wanted to quickly go back to the fact of like, I think a lot of the issue we're having is like similar to delegation. Delegation is you're trusting someone to take the right decision for you. And for me, it's a bit it would be quite similar when we will have, as you said, NFT projects or individuals that suggest a new proposal, and that's because for a proposal to go through, you need a certain amount of e-gold. So you would need to like crowdfund, even if you get your e-gold back, the proposition. And I think this would get people more engaged. And to go back to the delegation vote, as we discussed yesterday, I think some rules need to be set in place to ensure that there's not an overpowering of certain individuals because they've convinced everyone to give their or monetized the voting power, but that for sure giving the possibility to, as you said, friends, family, or as an influencer, have your community delegate the vote to you because you know they wouldn't vote on their own and they trust you in your decision and anyway can check what you voted on anyway. Could increase the participation while still representing educated opinions.
Yeah, that's definitely a fair point, because if I can take an example, I mean, I also processed a lot regarding our discussion yesterday. I think it's a really good subject. For example, if I take the example of Ausha, I mean, so the idea of delegate, I mean, in an ideal dream, I mean, I would like to be able to delegate my voting power to someone, an influencer or anything like that. And that's this legitimacy, if I can say, will be visible by the rest of the ecosystem to see, for example, which influencer is the most supported by the community, and be able also to remove your delegation and give it to someone else. And the idea is really to push, in fact, and give energy and motivation to the best actor of the ecosystem and the one pushing the most your interest. I mean, it goes directly on voting, like when I say a city vote for a mayor, after you can imagine that the mayor vote for the region vote for the national. I mean, everyone understand and vote on his own level, and you don't have to understand the entirety of the ecosystem. I mean, today, Web3 is really complex. I mean, like the real world, and I challenge everyone here to be able to understand what are the consequences of having a bilateral partnership for trading with Brazil, with Australia, the pros, the cons. It's a subject that are really complex, and we need to delegate this trust on people taking the time to dig and to learn about these things. And we need to have a similar approach on Web3. And that's why the delegation could be really a good system. But for come back on the risk, like you said, Joachim, if I take Asher, if the entire French community give the voting power to Asher, in addition to all the stacking delegated by Meria, that could start to be a little problematic for the decentralization of the network and be counterproductive. So in addition to rules, like you said, we need to also put limitation without being too harsh, I think, because some people can be successful or not, but we need also to respect the vote of people without jumping into a semi-dictatorship where one person could leverage trust and forces on the ecosystem. But yeah, I mean, it's something, I mean, that need to be discussed with the team. I mean, that need to be discussed with the main actors of the sector. I will probably try to wrap up something on the Agora. I mean, we're all together, but there is definitely point and call to action to do. Arnaud, you want to add something? Pleasure.
Yeah, it all comes down to priorities. Is this a top priority for the growth of the ecosystem? Is this what we should, spend our energy and the team's energy focusing to solving? Is it a painful problem that is keeping us from growing? I'm asking the question. I have an answer. I don't think that on-chain voting on the upgrade of the protocol is what is going to push MultiversX adoption. So, I would say in the short term, this year, there are many other topics that are more important in terms of solving the big pains that we are experiencing at MultiversX, and the biggest one would be bringing more builders and bringing more users.
I agree, Arnaud. I mean, the focus right now is on the sovereign shard, chains, and all the things that arrive to bring more builders and solution and more product from the ecosystem. And I think that's definitely the way forward. That means that if we want to have more, that our blockchain become more successful, or as MultiversX, we definitely need to bring more builders. That's a priority. Me, I just wanted, I think also, I mean, the thing with governance is like we talk about decentralization. I mean, it's something that come back a lot, in fact, on the discussion, because we are measuring our legitimacy on Web3 by the level of governance and decentralization. That is good or wrong. I mean, that's another debate again, but the trend exists and the discussion on the table. And I think that kind of discussion is not something that I would like to avoid, in fact, is that in 6 months or years, because we decided to do something else, the foundation come with their own solution. I think that will be also something wrong. I think it's a discussion that needs to be opened by the community. be a little work, maybe if it take a year, 6 months, a year, to arrive on something that is more mature, that people took, challenge, talked about, debate on spaces like that. I think it's something that needs to be done, that need to be start to be thinking now, I guess. If we wait too long and the foundation feel, okay, no, it's the right moment and they do it, that could be the wrong signal, don't you think? I mean, I don't see other chains saying, yeah, you have a DAO thingy, but it's not even created by the community. It's again coming from Benny. I mean, could be negative, don't you think?
I agree. I agree with you. And I'm not saying that, maybe that came out wrong. I was not saying that the community shouldn't voice towards building a more building an infrastructure, a social layer that is the most decentralized, so that it can have an objective opinion on the various topics. That is absolutely not the case. It is very important, and as you said, it is also how you see the power of a community when you can see a lot of different people voting on the governance issues. So yes, 100% we should do it, but I'm also, what I was trying to say is, the MultiversX Foundation and the team, they have an idea, they have a vision, they understand, or at least it's their assumption, where blockchain technology in terms of use case is going to grow. And this is why everything that they have built, I think, from what I understand now, has led them to this moment when they can start pushing sovereign chains. Because sovereign chains is a piece of the overall technology that the MultiversX team has been building, and it is free to use in many ways for builders. And so this is where our energy, the most of our energy, should be dedicated to, even as a community. How can we make sure that this breakthrough that the MultiversX team is bullish on, how can we as a community give feedback so that we maximize the opportunity out of this solution? And so that's why, when we come back to expansion, I was talking with DB Crypto. I've been starting to write so I can post it on Agora, but a proposal, whereas maybe, I don't know if it's a proposal, but I want to attract attention on this, the problem that I've pinpointed earlier on in this space. I want to make sure that MultiversX hires people from the US to push the US market, not sending the regular BD team made out of and so I think this, it is HR because it's the team, but it's actually, once you have a right candidate, a right person in the US, and in 6-8 months, I don't know, the sovereign chain technology is more mature, then you will have someone on the spot that already has a network and can push things where it matters most.
That's. I think you're right. I mean, you're right. But I would just add a little powder for my governance thingy. What do you think if we make like a little program or let's say smart contract whatsoever, when people can raise ideas about that? For example, this point that you just raised, opening a company or having employees natively from US on the US soil, dedicated for spread the good vibes, like with builders, with people with the knowledge from business development, from sovereign shard, like to have a really full team ready to spread the vibe on the first market, because US is still the first market. But still, I mean, I believe that these ideas, for example, will have more value because even if you write a proposal, it's what we were discussing yesterday. Even if you write a proposal on the Agora, you don't have a reason to be taken compared to another one. The priority is still at the discretion of the foundation. And even if we delegate our trust to the foundation somehow, it will legitimate more, I think, the action if the community, for example, you can make a vote, because right now it's just on their platform. It's nice, huh? I mean, maybe an actor, a builder on the ecosystem should do that, to create a small solution where people can make the vote from decentralized way with the same voting power. I mean, and if you do that and we vote all, for example, for extend to US, and you have, I don't know, 10,000 wallets that voted for that, they cannot ignore that anymore. And they cannot say we didn't do it because there was not a priority. No. The community told you that this is a priority and you cannot ignore it. And
I don't agree with you. I think, you know, as Robert is pushing all the time for it, dividing audiences across multiple platforms is not a smart thing. You want network effects. You want people to get used to the most effective channels to do X thing. And the MultiversX Foundation has built the Agora so that the community could voice concerns to them. This is why this channel has been created. And if I take some time to write this proposal, I want to make sure that the MultiversX team sees it. And so I will write it on the channel that they have created to that effect. And then I will promote it on X to make sure that most people see it both on X and both on the Agora, and it will also attract the eyes. And I hope that people in the Agora, you can vote. You can say if you agree or disagree, you can answer, etc. So, I mean, it's a good enough tool for this. And again, the MultiversX team created it exactly for that purpose. So then, if everybody starts creating, you know, alternative channels, let's not forget that the first point is voicing concerns, suggestions to the foundation, and they have built Agora for this.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I was not talking about making another Agora base or anything, but for example, on the Agora, for me, you should be allowed to log in with your wallet and to vote directly to push some idea upward. Because right
That's
now,
what you can do. You log in with your wallet when you join the Agora.
But it's not public.
What do you mean it's not public?
You see the amount of voter, but you don't see like the amount of energy or things like that have been put into a vote. It's still like a forum with like and dislike, more or less.
Yeah, okay, but it's good enough, you know. The goal is to put ideas out there and see if people are engaging with the ideas that have been put out there. I think the rest is an overkill. Like, it's losing time towards something that is not going to move the needle for the main point, that is putting ideas so that the community can debate in a place that they know the foundation is looking to. All the rest, you know, it's noise. It's just jibber jabber that we don't need.
No, you're right. For the moment, in any case, like you say, we need to focus on sovereign chain and shards. I mean, we have to see what's happening on the 25th of May. I think we still all need to see and to build ideas and put them on the Agora regarding governance and things like that. So we are not against. I hope. I don't feel we are chasing each other, but we go on the same point. The community need to participate more, like everyone listening to that. If you want to participate, go on the Agora, give your thought about consensus, about problematics on the ecosystem, about business plan, about market that need to be done, new product that need to be invented. It's like that we will create the environment that everyone wants to have regarding DeFi, video game, builders, SDK, and platform. And we need to have a way in the future to really have this discussion from a transparent point of view, with the capacity to put forward ideas that matter for the community and everyone using the blockchain. I mean, at the moment, like I say, I believe in the team. I mean, like they do a great job and they focus on technology. I mean, there's pro and cons regarding adoption, regarding the amount of liquidity coming on the blockchain. But the team is going to follow their roadmap to reach their objectives, to break the gap with the Web2 and the interoperability of solution. And I think that's what we are all looking for. I think we don't need to extend so much. I think this discussion will come back definitely on other space and on future MvX, definitely. I mean, we have to see after the vote and what will be the conclusion of it and the amount of participation and the repartition of the wallet. I think that could be a good work that we can give to Xfood to identify the amount of voter and the concentration of power in few hands. That could be a really interesting aspect to see. But for the moment, I think we can be closing the space for today and go forward. So I would like to thank you a lot for joining us. Again, you can find the replay of the space on Spotify, on YouTube, and on the Cyborg platform. We have to see, but we'll try to upload that in the comics day. For our next space, will be on Friday in French. Jiram will be there for the Clash of the Blockchain. So that will be a nice edition, I guess, with a lot of different points regarding the market and what's happening around. So please all be there. That will be an interesting one. And wish you all a great day to enjoy your sun if you have sun. I hope it's sunny for every one of you. And hope to see you soon on MvX with us all. Have a good one.